Alright, what's going on everyone? It's Cabjoy here again with another match analysis video, this time for the Shade. So the Shade sent me in some of his online matches that he'd like me to take a look at. So I'm going to go through, look at each match, analyze what I see as I go, and maybe pop into training mode to show off a few things as well. Alright, so without further ado, let's have a look. So the first match we've got is Shaolin Kung Jin versus Ferra. So like every match, the first thing you need to think about before you go into it is what ranges is your character better than the character you're fighting. So before we even fight, we're going to have a look or have a quick think about where each character wants to be on the screen. So if we just pop over to training mode, alright, so in training mode, we've got Kung Jin, and we can have a look at some of his best normals. So maybe his back one, which is his low, or his forward one, which is overhead, also very good range. Even his back two, he's got decent range. He's also got chakra arm to zone with. And the low chakra arm is going to be particularly pesky for Ferra because the overhead Ferra won't actually absorb it because it's a low. So at around this range and onwards are the ranges that Kung Jin wants to be when he's fighting Ferra. Corner probably isn't as important for Kung Jin as other characters, so I'd say he wants to be somewhere mid-screen. So if we then have a look at Ferra, have a quick look at some of his normals. So his stand 4, doesn't quite reach, down 3, down 1, back 1, forward 2, back 2 reaches, but it's quite slow. I think at max range, oh no, it's okay. So the ranges of Ferra's normals aren't quite as good, and what Ferra has that Kung Jin doesn't have is some good up close pressure. So he's got back 1-2, which is 0 on block, which you can mix up between pokes and grabs like that. He's also got the string into Ferra, which is a 50-50, which is fairly safe. I think it's completely safe against Kung Jin. So Ferra basically is going to want to be pushing Kung Jin to the corner during the match and then bully him like Ferra basically does against most characters. So the important thing is going to be trying to stay, I guess, within this range, within the back 1, the down 3 range, mainly the back 1 range, because that's probably his most important move, which is also somewhat, so back 1 is about there, command grab is about the same range, so very important as well. And again, if we're here, Ferra can't do anything basically, and Kung Jin can come in with his low or his overhead, or he can be obnoxious with his jump too, which is quite good as well. So we'll go back, we'll take a look at what the Shade chooses to do. So he starts the round down 4 to try and space him out, and he's within that range. He starts off with a 50-50, which is not too bad, gets him with the overhead, puts him in the corner, so this is exactly where he wants to be. So that first little thing just there that happens, just here, on wake up, the Shade, I imagine, is using the pain and gain to potentially bait a wake up, because the pain and gain can absorb the wake up. So it's smart use of the pain and gain. So Kung Jin jumps out, this is good. So just here, Shade gets caught by the low chakra. So always be aware that after I think the first hit of most of Kung Jin's strings, you have no reason to block high. Yeah, basically block high, because he's only got the overhead on the first hit, or unless it's the 4-3, which is where it gets tricky, the mid heel drop. He's always got second hits, which are second or third hit, which is low instead of the overhead. So you can mostly block low after the first hit unless you're seeing the heel. So he gets opened up by a bit of unfamiliarity, or maybe just not reacting, and that's fine. So he's in the corner now, gets a bit impatient, tries to use his armor to get out, gets put straight back in, and he tries again. So that time it works, but I'd be opting for a few more patient strategies, maybe waiting for a chance to counterpoke or reversal throw back into the corner. But he gets out, and that was good. He baits the absorbs the hit of the fly kick, but then misses his punish, which could have been quite a bit more damage. Also misses a punish there, and gets opened up by the low. So he's in his face, but let's just have a look at how Kung Jin uses his low. Let's just go back one more time. So here, we absorb the hit, he misses a punish, and now he lets Kung Jin get out. So Kung Jin pokes low, he's on negative frames now. Shade tries to counterpoke with low, which gets jumped out of. maybe he could have counterpoked with back one instead. That may be a smarter counterpoke because it would have caught the jump. So Kung Jin's out of the corner now. Kung Jin low pokes, negative frames again. The Shade opts to NJP, where he could have again done something like a throw to put him back in the corner, or go into his back one pressure, or maybe if he was feeling ambitious, depending on how good the other person's anti-airs are, he could have possibly jumped over, but that is a riskier option. But I'd say reversal throw could have been, or back throw could have been a good option there. NJP misses the punish here, which is probably the reason he lost this round. He could have definitely taken, I think, 35% off of a back one punish, meterless, and I think that would have killed, but instead he down ones. Back one into neutral frames, and then he eats the down one. The Shade's at negative frames, and so he gets opened up by the low because he's respecting those negative frames that he's in. So again, using the pain and gain full screen to absorb a hit, which can be good, but didn't really net him too much there. So just doing some standard mix-up, trying to keep it relatively safe by cancelling the forward two into the tackle charge, which is fine. Okay, blocks at that time. But something that's important to know about the returning low chakram is that you can actually armor it. So again, if we go back over to the game, let's have a quick look. So let's set up that situation. So we put this guy on record AI, block always. So we'll just do something like this. Alright, let's try it again. Should be able to reversal it. There we go. There we go. So you can punish it with the tuck and charge, and you can punish it with the command grab. Getting back to the match, we just looked at our options against the EX Chakram. So let's see what's happening now. So 1-1-1 EX Chakram like we saw. Back one to keep him in the corner, which is what I was recommending earlier, which worked out this time. Throws him back down. This should basically be it. So you can throw Ferra, either do the low toss or the overhead toss, and it would have worked out pretty well. So again, tries to absorb some kind of hit with the pain and gain. Doesn't really work out. Gets another combo opportunity. So running and jumping in isn't something I'd recommend, but it seemed to work out here. Get another opportunity for a punish, just not recognizing that the gravity was going to ruin the combo that he planned on doing. Tuck and charge, turning out to be a fairly useful anti-air there. And then he tries to use, if we go back, we'll just have a quick look. Throws out the X-ray, which is something that I, again, don't personally recommend. But it can be not so bad for Ferra because he's +6 afterwards. So you can see the Shade tries to utilize that by using his down one, but the down one's got very little range at all. So maybe a down 4 or a walk up back one might have been better to try and contest with the unfamiliarity of the other player trying to counterpoke on his negative frames. So it could have been a good opportunity there, but it's alright. Still looks like the Shade's in pretty good shape. Gets him with the back 2-1, and this should basically be it right now, I think. Alright, so not too bad an effort by the Shade. Things that I would like to see him emphasize is the corner control. So using back one in situations where it would stop people from jumping out. Maybe sitting back a bit further as opposed to right next to and trying to use that down 3 again to try and make sure that the opponent stays in the corner. Being a bit more reactionary to the jumps. Again, if he sits back at that range, there's a good possibility he could use armored tuck and charge to bat them out of the air as well, which could be good, although it does corner switch, which isn't ideal. And also utilizing the command grab as well. So a few things there. The other important thing that the Shade needs to be aware of is punishing the opponent for trying to jump, crossover jump specifically. So there's a few examples. I'm not sure where an exact one is, but this player tends to use crossover jumps at somewhat odd times. So if we have him in the corner, we'll probably see him try to jump out. So the back one catches him. Not catching the jump yet. Alright, must be a bit before this. Let's go back. Let's just scan through. Again, jump. Alright, there. So there's an unpunished crossover jump. And take my word for it, this happens more than once in this match, and it goes unpunished every time. So what the Shade could be doing is using the quite large hitbox of the down 3 to punish the crossover jump of Kung Jin, because this guy in particular is using jump 1, which is quite a poor jump in attack. So if we take it to training mode, we can have a look, and I'll show you how the anti-airing works with the down 3. The guy was using jump in 1, which is very, very bad for auto-correcting with jump in. You have to delay it quite a bit, so it's not very useful. Not quite as good as his jump 2. So if we just have a look and try to anti-air it, so he'll be jumping at a weird range, something like this, and you can anti-air it with the down 3. So again, just down 3. Nice and easy. And you can convert that into a decent amount of damage. So that's another important thing that the Shade needs to start doing, is trying to anti-air with down 3, because it's quite a good anti-air. It's got a very janky hitbox. So with that said, I hope that was a bit of a help, Shade, to point you in the right direction of some of the things that were going wrong. It's always going to be hard to break apart every little situation, but I hope some of those general ideas will basically help you with that match in the future. And again, a lot of it comes down to converting on your hits, which Ferra Torr can do fairly decently. I understand it's online, so there could be some lag issues going on. But for the most part, converting on your damage, making sure you don't miss the punishes, all stuff you can work on with time. So just keep at it and you'll get there. Thank you to anyone else who decides to watch this video. Again, if you have any other tips or ideas to help Shade with the matchup, feel free to comment. Again, Ferrator specific stuff, if anyone out there can point out some things I might have missed, it'd be really great to start a discussion in the comments. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.